Hello, it's Vicki LaRoe from Modern Jewelry Makers. Thank you for selecting this video. I wanted to share two of my very, very favorite bracelet kits that we have carried. And there's a very special reason. I sent out an email to my customers a few weeks ago explaining that my longtime chain manufacturer, in fact, we've used the same chain supplier since the day we opened, so for 30 some years. And they've always produced very high quality chain. It's been very important to us to carry excellent quality materials. And they had decided to discontinue a large portion of their chain styles, which I understand. Mostly the larger ones. Of the styles they're discontinuing, though, about 50% of my kits use those. So it's mostly the larger ones. And so what I decided to do was to purchase whatever I could that they had remaining of those styles, and then kind of reintroduce or relaunch to make some of those beautiful kits from our archives available again for one last time, and calling them kind of last chance kits. And I will send out an email to my customers with all the information. A video is just a nice way for me to share the designs and a few more details about the kits, and I'll probably post it on YouTube. There's a very, very limited amount of kits left. I'll probably put links below and etc. But depending on when you're watching this, I just put it up on YouTube because it's always fun to look at beautiful jewelry, and there's a link to our website so you can check out all the stuff. Anyway, these are two of my very favorite statement bracelet kits that I'm excited to share that are going to be available one last time. So we're going to start with this front one. I'm going to scoot this back a little bit. This is our beautiful Bling bracelet that is full of sparkles, and she's just a favorite for sure. And so this is available in silver or gold, and then there's a leather cording. So there's black, right, which is striking and beautiful, lovely, classic, gorgeous, elegant. And then in the silver, there's the silver, then with the silver metallic leather, and the gold with like a bronze metallic leather. So both really lovely, and so probably a little more subtle. It looks more metal than, and where this is a very, stark look. I think with these, the colors a little more subtle and very elegant. So it's kind of whatever, your preference is. A special thing about these kits, I've updated the handouts for just extra finishing techniques and some other options, and then made a brand new video tutorial that will go with them as well. I've tried to make these kits just as fabulous as possible. So one thing about these chains, the chains used in Beautiful Bling both have some issues, which is maybe why they're being discontinued. It uses two chains. The first is a Rolo, what's called a box Rolo, and it may look like it may be a typical one, but it's flat on one side. Let me grab the gold and maybe show up a little bit better. It's flat on one side. That's not the biggest kind of issue, though. The kind of problem, or just kind of thing that we run into, is that each link is two links. So there's one and then another one that's perpendicular, and they're soldered together. And so when you're cutting this chain and trying to configure, the length, it's tricky, right? Hopefully you can kind of see on the end there see how it's soldered and turns. So in both of these designs, you're going to have three. You need to cut 3 pieces that have to be perfectly even. And so what often happens is one will be a little off, and so we'll move the links around, or in this case we have to cut. The links don't open. And it's very, very, very heavy chain to cut, for one thing. You do not use your good jewelry cutters to cut these. It's very heavy, and then, like I said, it's kind of tricky to configure because of the way that every link is 2 links kind of thing. So your kit is going to come with these already cut. All the chain already cut. You don't have to worry about having the right cutter or trying to figure it out. Because the worst thing is if you cut it even and then one's off and you've got to cut them shorter, like cutting your, bangs or something shorter and shorter, and then it's too short. The body of the bracelet is the woven piece is 6 inches, and so if you need to cut it down and make it shorter, you can, but generally by the time then we add the 3-strand clasp on there, that will add another 1.25 inches or so. So, coming out to almost 7.5, which is kind of a perfect bracelet size. If you need it larger, you can swap out that, with the 3-strand magnet clasp is the one that comes with it, because it's fairly easy to use and doesn't take up much space. But if you needed it larger, you can swap it out and do the 3-to-1 and use either a magnet or a toggle or just about anything. Any single clasp will do that and add more length that way. The other chain that is used, though, is the rhinestone cup chain. I'm sure everyone has kind of seen before. This is a really odd size. It's a 2.73 millimeter, which is, like I said, a weird size, but it's the size that works with that Rolo. But it's probably why it's being discontinued. The other kind of issue with it, it's like I was saying, it's 6 inches. Unfortunately, it's easy to cut, but it's not that easy to measure for a woven bracelet. You can't just lay out 6 inches and cut it. If you do, you'll have cut it too short. The thing with a cup chain is the cups move, right? So if I spread it out, it's spread out with so much room between it, but it also contracts, right? And I can push the stones together, or push them apart, or push them together, or push them apart. So 2 inches of chain contracted becomes 1 inch. Well, actually, I wish it was that easy. It's more like it becomes 1 and almost 1/3 of another inch. So anyway, it's tricky to measure for something like this. So this will be cut as well. Again, if you just cut it out at the same length, it's going to be too short. You'll be weaving, and and then you'll be really upset because your chain will be too short. So we're going to save you a whole bunch of headache there by having all those pre-cut. So to my customers, they'll just on the listing there'll be a link for the listing, silver gold, and then the leather cord. But there's not, like all of these, there's not many kits available. So I think like I can do 9 in silver and 5 in gold or something, and then it's done. Okay. The other one is probably my very, very favorite bracelet kit of all time that I've ever designed and made. This is our Cardier Cuff. Designed it in 2015, I think, after a very popular bracelet from Cartier that was woven gold and just gorgeous. And I thought I could do something similar, I think. And I spent a very long time, me and Sophia, my daughter, figuring out just the right way to do it, the right chains to use. And it uses a textured Rolo and then a diamond ball chain. And it's the where typically a Rolo is just a repeating link for the most part, and a round one that's plain. But it's really the texture on this Rolo and then the sparkle from the diamond ball chain that, the two different I guess, textures just make it pop. I love it very much. So the kind of cool thing, was always 3 colors. So in the Rolo was available in silver, gold, and gunmetal, and then the ball chain, silver, gold, and gunmetal, which makes 9 possibilities. I don't have that. I have 8 of them, but right, there was silver on silver, the silver and gunmetal, silver and gold that I don't have, and then that's the one I don't have, the gold, the gold gunmetal, very pretty, very, very David Yurman. This gold silver, which is probably my favorite, looks most like the Cartier, and then the gunmetal, right, which is gunmetal and silver, the gunmetal and gunmetal and gunmetal and gold. And so, like the last bracelet I showed you, the beautiful bling, this Rolo is being discontinued, and unfortunately right now the only color that I can get that works is the gunmetal. And so unless I get sent, unless they find something else for me, but just kind of want to explain. So here's a spool. I did order some of the last spools. They sent me the silver and the gold. However, it won't work. Here's a piece of like an original silver where they're just slightly larger. So this new spool they sent me, the links are slightly smaller, but what happens is now the opening between them is not large enough to weave the ball chain through. If you've made this class with me before, you already know it just fits. It just fits perfectly the way it is. I can't afford to lose any more space. And I did try it just so I knew for sure, but it does not work. So I had them look like all through their stock, and no, there's nothing. So it's came in a few times with it kind of off measurement, which is maybe why they're stopping to carry it. So what I have though is the gunmetal, unless they find some other ones for me, but which is beautiful, right? The gunmetal and silver is probably one of the most popular combinations. However, I did just make for the first time the gunmetal and gunmetal. We never had it before, and it's really beautiful. I don't know why I never offered it before as a color combination. So if you've made this with me before, you don't have this color because it's brand new. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's kind of dark outside now, but the sparkle from the ball chain and this, of course, it's black, so it's really lovely. And then the gunmetal and gold just also turned out really kind of sultry, kind of dark and sexy. I don't know. I'm really very David Yurman. Kind of the more I play with it, the more I love it. So I put safety chains on these. Your kit includes a bunch of cool extras for this kit that we haven't offered before. I did make a brand new tutorial as well for it as a bonus, but the safety chain, right, that's on the end will come in your kit, and you can use it or not. You can tell I do on some, I don't on some of the others. It depends. If you use the magnet clasp, well, you know that it loves to hook onto everything, right? I mean, especially if you work in an office. And so it loves to stick to a filing cabinet or your car or whatever. And so if it does that and it has the safety, you'll feel it, right? And so you won't just lose it somewhere, which would be heartbreaking on this design after all this work, because it is a pretty challenging piece, as it takes patience and time. It's not that it's hard, but it like I said, it takes some patience. However, I've really the more I've made it a lot recently to make these samples, I've really found some really nice little tricks or hacks to make it easier, including a new finishing. If you've made it before, the finishing was tricky too, but I did a new technique that's held up beautifully, that's a lot easier. So your kit will come with 3 different ways to finish it off. It'll come with all the materials, so you can pick your favorite. The video shows all 3 ways, so it will have all that available. Probably the biggest plus is we put special wire needles on your ball chain, and it will come with these already attached. This is very, pretty tricky to attach them. So it will come with this already attached for you. That saves a ton of time, as well as an extra set of the right gauge, 30 gauge of the wire needles. It'll come with an extra set, and then it shows you in the handout and on the video how to attach them if you need to. If it breaks off, you pull too hard, something like that. The other thing that we always include, or have included, is some extra little tiny ball chain clasps. Again, if you happen to break it somewhere in the middle of the weave, which can happen again by pulling too hard, you can put one of those on to fix it pretty quickly. So lots of extra bonuses, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, to this kit this time, that will help make this a lot easier for you. And so here's your last chance to grab these gorgeous beauties, and they're even on sale. I even put them 20% off, and they're going to include the video class as a free bonus. So it's just, I guess, a nice send off. These are, again, just a nice way to grab them before they're gone. Never say never. You never know, but might be able to find the right chain. Again, it's not just finding the style, it's the quality. And even like I was showing you on this Rolo, it may look like it's the right chain, but then it's not. So thank you for joining me for this video. And if this is on YouTube, please like, subscribe, comment, do all the things to help the video. And I will leave a link, at least to the website, that will have our latest kits, because again, these are very limited quantities. But we have new ones coming out for the next few months. I'm going to do a couple new last chance kits over the next few months until they're gone. So until we're done. Thank you again for joining me. And until next time, sparkle brightly like the star that you are. Mwah! Peace.